I'm so excited to share with you that this podcast is sponsored by The RealReal, the best place to shop authenticated luxury bags, clothing, watches, and so much more. I love scouring The RealReal for new pieces. There are 10,000 new items every day, and they do their daily drops at 10 a.m. and 7 p.m. Eastern Time. So you can shop and sell at The RealReal, which is great because you can use those earnings to buy something special. I just bought a gold Fendi bracelet, a hinge bracelet. I can't wait to wear it. The RealReal is attainable luxury that upgrades your personal style. With up to 90% off retail, you can finally have the pieces that you've been dreaming of from brands like Gucci, Fendi, and Prada. So The RealReal is the world's largest and most trusted resource for authenticated luxury resale. With thousands of new arrivals daily, no one does resale like The RealReal. And now you can get $25 off your first purchase when you go to therealreal.com/Kate Casey. That's therealreal.com/Kate Casey to get your $25 off. Start shopping at therealreal.com/Kate Casey. Looking for a new, beautiful, durable, and sustainably made rug at an accessible price? You've got to check out Revival Rugs. I just swapped out my son's rug. I got an 8x10 in sweatshirt. It is so soft on your feet. And if you're a parent like me, you're going to want to check out their popular line of washable rugs because they have the same high quality look and feel as a traditional rug. If your kids or your pets get your rug dirty, you can just pop it in the washing machine and it comes out fresh and clean. And I love that. Plus, they're a sustainable company. They use eco-friendly materials, including wool, cotton, recycled denim, and recycled polyester. It's a brand you can feel good about, and they've got affordable prices so your wallet can feel good too. Visit revivalrugs.com/realitylife and use the code KateCasey20 for 20% off your first order. That's revivalrugs.com/realitylife, code KateCasey20. One more time, revivalrugs.com/realitylife with code KateCasey20 to save 20% off your order.
The amazing Kate Casey.
Welcome back for another episode of Reality Life with Kate Casey. Hope that you are having a great week. And I hope you've been catching up on all the reality shows. I know I've been kind of missing the Real Housewives, but I'm eager for Miami to come back in particular. Can't wait for that to start airing. Well, you know, The Valley is back. As you're familiar, or if you're unfamiliar, The Valley is a spinoff of Vanderpump Rules. So it was about a group of friends who made terrible life and romance decisions, lived in West Hollywood. Lots of them wanted to be actors or models. We're all working at the same restaurant. And over time, we followed their lives. And so The Valley finds them in their 30s, married, single, some raising children, some not. And now we're at a point where after the first season is aired, and there are some of them who are new to reality TV are shifting their positions in their marriages, in their relationships, in their friendships. And they're also grappling with newfound fame or reclaimed fame. So there are a lot of moving parts to this story. On the most recent episode, which is only episode 2, so if you want to jump in, you can absolutely do so. You've got one couple that clearly only got married because she got pregnant. So when we first met them in the first season, you couldn't help but wonder why in the world they were even still married, let alone worked together. Very poor communication, doesn't seem to have any romance, but they have a daughter, and that complicates things. So where we are in this show and this season, in this episode, is watching two people trying to untangle a relationship that has gone way sour, while also trying to schedule their daughter's life and work out the custody agreement. And they first tried to use a mediator, and that went south. And Michelle is at a point where I think she's realizing it probably is at a point where you have to get an attorney involved, which is so sad to see. And they also have relationships. Now, she clearly was checked out of this relationship a long time ago, and he believes that she had been cheating on him. We really don't even know, but she's already way into a very serious relationship. And then you think about all of your friends that have gone through divorces, or maybe you have as well, and you think about how fragile kids are in that period of time, and how you and your partner are trying to figure out new relationships and how much they get access to your children. So we're watching all of that kind of unravel. The weirdest part about it is Jesse is dating someone, and they only refer to this person as someone who lives in Orange County. So Lord knows I may even know them, who knows? But that this person, whoever it may be, seems to be so anxiety ridden about their name being mentioned on this television show, which begs the question of why are you dating someone who's on a reality show? But the funniest part to me was Sheena gets involved because Michelle says to Jesse, I have a friend who told me that this person you're dating says they're dating other people, sleeping with other people. And he asks, okay, well, who's your friend? And she says, well, it's Sheena. And then Sheena is obviously available for a phone call because, of course. And Sheena says, yeah, she told me that she's seen somebody from Baywatch. That is so Orange County. Even if someone was on a television show, and even as a background actor at age 7, that would lead someone's description. I've said this before. I moved into a new neighborhood years ago, and I'm talking to one of my neighbors. I said, you look so familiar to me. And I'm thinking I met you at the OBGYN or CVS or something. And she's like, oh yes, I was on Santa Barbara. And I was like, wait, what? What? But that is so commonplace. Someone's child was an actor or, somebody was like a background actor, but that is still sets a precedent for somebody and not, that they work in some other industry or they're, in charitable work or whatever. It's what they did in the entertainment industry, even if it was years and years ago. All right. Then we have Jax. Now we have watched him from, I would assume, his early 20s. And he's always been problematic. He's always a mess. And when he meets this sweet girl from Kentucky, you're just like, what are you doing? Have you not watched the show? Now, I think it's been debated for years whether or not she was aware of his celebrity when she met him, I believe, in a Las Vegas club. But even if you hadn't, spending maybe 3 days with this person, you would realize this is not somebody I can have a long and lasting, fulfilling relationship with. But she didn't listen to any of us. And she went ahead and she had a televised wedding. And now they have a child. And she's up against a huge wall because he's a hellacious communicator, rage-filled, and clearly has some lurking issues. But they're finally addressed in this episode. So Kristen, in the beginning of this episode, who's also been on Vanderpump Rules since the very beginning, she points out that Jax has said some shameful things about Brittany, his wife, for years, namely about her weight. And he won't admit it. We don't even have to live in their house to know that this is probably true. He uses videos and photos. He says that she sent to someone her separation as a reason to fly off the handle. And you get a sense just from there, the little things say so much, that every little thing she's ever done is exaggerated so that he can counter it in an argument. And Brittany says he threw things and he was such a rage spiral. She no longer felt comfortable for him to be alone with their son. And now we can all imagine it was much worse than they were willing to admit on camera. So she goes to their home and he's still rage spiraling. And you are just getting a small glimpse into who he is. And remember, this is how someone acts on camera. You can only imagine what it's like off camera. So he's packing for a mental health facility. And he's gotten to this point where he's like, I have to do something. He's had a FaceTime call with his sister. His friends are encouraging him. He has a phone call with someone. They say it's $30,000 for 30 days. He's running through in his head, I'm going to be away from my son. I'm going to be away from my business. He's probably thinking, I'm going to be off of TV. That means if I'm not in episodes, that's some more income that I lose. He's running through all the possibilities. And as he's packing, there's a closet open behind him, and you can see it is just filled with dirty clothes. He has just shoved everything that was on a bed or on a floor into that closet, and it really just is a metaphor that he's been shoving those things in spaces for years because what was really lurking was this addiction issue. And the way that Brittany says it while they're arguing on the stairs lets you know how bad it really was. She says, if you do not stay the full 30 days, I'm filing right now. I'm taking Cruz, I'm getting full custody, and I'm getting a restraining order against you, and you're going to lose your job. You have an addiction, and you need to be honest with the doctor. Jax, you have a coke problem. Everybody knows it. Own up to it. Be real with the doctor. And I kept thinking, if she is going to say this on camera, we know how rock bottom this is, because this will forever damage him having this spoken about on TV. That's what I thought first. And then I thought, But good for him that he's at a point where he's like, I have to get help, because the other end of it is horrible. I mean, they have this sweet, like, little boy. And by the way, Britney has now said he is autistic. So you can only imagine the burden that she has had trying to navigate this marriage, this volatile relationship, and the care of her son.
Craving your next action-packed adventure? Audible delivers thrills of every kind on your command, like Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir, where a lone astronaut must save humanity from extinction, narrated with stunning intensity by Ray Porter. From electrifying suspense and daring quest to spine-tingling horror and romance in far-off realms, unleash your adventurous side with gripping titles that'll keep you guessing. Discover exclusive Audible originals, hotly anticipated new releases, and must-listen bestsellers that hook you from the first minute. Because Audible knows there's no greater thrill than the one that speaks to you. Discover what lies beyond the edge of your seat. Start your free 30-day trial at audible.com/WonderyUS. That's audible.com/WonderyUS.
With the Spark Cash Plus card from Capital One, you earn unlimited 2% cash back on every purchase. And you get big purchasing power, so your business can spend more and earn more. Stephen, Brandon, and Bruno, the business owners of SandCloud, reinvested their 2% cash back to help build their retail presence. Now that's serious business. What could the Spark Cash Plus card from Capital One do for your business? Capital One. What's in your wallet? Find out more at CapitalOne.com/SparkCashPlus. Terms apply.
You also realize that everyone's been dancing around this, likely since the beginning of Vanderpump Rules. The cast members, his family, the people outside of the show, his personal life, the colleagues. But I also thought about the makers of this show. Like, what have they been witness to? How agonizing has it been for them? So in a confessional, he finally acknowledges that he needs professional help. He said, I'm going to a treatment center for 30 days and I'm spiraling out of control and I don't know it. Maybe I'm blind, but I'm doing this for my son. I don't want her to take him away from me. And if I have to do this so she won't do that, then I'm going to do it. Now, in March, he admitted to the lengths of his problems. He said, I have substance issues, primarily with cocaine. It's hard to say that out loud. I've been dealing with this on and off since I was 23 and now I'm 45. And then I'm sure that she took a deep sigh when he finally admitted that publicly, because she's been protecting him. I do think in some ways, when somebody is public and they come forward with their addiction, there is probably a little bit of freedom because of the weight of protecting the secret. And I also think maybe it's better because when you put it out there, everyone who watches the show, they want, I think, well-meaning people watch these shows and they want the best for the people. If they have been kind enough to crack their lives open and expose the often dirty things as this couple is doing, I think everybody wants the best for them and the best for their child. So I can only imagine if he is out somewhere and he's behaving crazy, he may be a little bit more mindful of not doing that kind of stuff because the secret is out. So I don't know. It just feels very, very dark on the Valley. But then again, for some of the cast, we've been following them for so long and we've seen these lurking issues and we've all been kind of waiting for it to be addressed. And that's the reality of it, is that I think when people see these glossy pictures and the trips they take and the attention they get, they may forget that there is also lives that have to be lived in private, and they are complicated and they are sometimes dark. Oh, and one other thing I want to say about the Valley is that Jason, God bless the Jasons of the world, so measured. Imagine what this guy has seen. Comes to comfort Brittany and is the one that took Jax to the facility. And what a wonderful person. So Summer House, we continue. It's basically the same themes every week. You're getting a window into Paige's breakup with Craig. It's through her lens versus the Southern Charm lens. Very eye-opening. Her discussion of anxiety, and you can only imagine she's got this really big work commitment. I mean, a multi-city tour is no small thing. And then compounded with, and I think often people forget about the ancillary projects that she also works on, and being in front of the camera all the time and being on social media, and then navigating a relationship that you know is headed into destruction. And the reality that when that becomes public, that you have broken it off, that you are going to be confronted with a deluge of DMs and comments about what they think that you've done, even though we really don't have full access to their relationship. And knowing that you're going to break someone else's heart because she knows that he really wants to get married to her and she just knows it's not a great fit. So it's sad over there too. And then the other sad part of Summer House is you're watching Jesse. I'm like, what has happened to you? I feel like I need to have a sit down with him. I hope that he watches this back and feels embarrassed, because remember Patrick Hickey, my friend was on this podcast, I believe a week ago maybe, and he pointed out that Jesse pretended he wanted to be in a monogamous relationship because that is the only way he could have been intimate with Lexi. I think he's feeling his celebrity self, knows he's getting more attention than ever, doesn't want a girlfriend, but he likes attention. So he says things like, let's get a cat together, because he knows that's what she wants to hear in order for him to be physically intimate with her. And I just am like, oh, poor Lexi. So if she needs some life advice here, I'm here for her too. But Jesse, I'm like, what are you doing? What is happening? I really do worry about a lot of these reality stars, because I think it's very easy to get caught up in the fame of it all. But these opportunities are very fleeting, and you're going to have to figure out how to pivot after it ends, and it will end. So that's what's going on in those two shows. Now, there are 3 more reality shows that are premiering this week. You've got Battle Camp on Netflix. It features stars from a variety of the Netflix reality series, including Love is Blind, The Ultimatum, Perfect Match, and Selling the OC. And it's like their version of The Challenge. And our girl Polly is one of the contestants. It's like, again, Netflix's version, or it's like MTV's version of The Challenge, but with all of these Netflix reality stars. So if you have been watching some of those shows, you will recognize some of the contestants. And the nice thing about it is, then when you watch the people that you aren't familiar with, it's going to propel you to want to go back and watch the show that they were originally on, so you can investigate whether or not they've changed or you see a different side of them. So that's why I like Battle Camp. Vanderpump Villa is on Hulu. It follows a hand-selected staff as they work, live, and play at an exclusive European villa estate. I interviewed cast members last season. It seems like they pulled from Miami and Las Vegas, people that were familiar with working bottle service and concierge, put them in this estate for a short period of time while they film. Lisa Vanderpump is involved. Stassi Schroeder, who was on Vanderpump Rules, is really, I think, they're the one that they're pushing forward, presumably to make the show more entertaining because of it. And you can start watching that on Hulu on the 24th. And then you have Love Hotel on Bravo, which has 4 Real Housewives dating men that they will probably never end up with. So if you're looking for things to kind of just relax after a long week, those are probably perfect for you. I was surprised to read this week that insiders within Justin Bieber's circle are concerned that he's now part of what they refer to as a cult. Justin Bieber and his longtime business partner, Ryan Good, have reportedly been estranged and not spoken in over a year following a clash over religion. They've stopped speaking after Good left Bieber's place of worship, Church Home in Beverly Hills. And a source claimed to TMZ that Good felt Church Home was like a cult and he wanted out. The insider also alleged that Justin was getting close to the church's pastor, Judah Smith. He was a big factor in their separation. Tensions between Bieber and Good only intensified after Justin added Judah to the True House board a few years ago, despite the fact that Judah and Ryan, the brand, which is a clothing brand that Justin owned, that they didn't get along. So my first question is the same as yours. Why is a pastor on the board of a famous congregant's clothing brand? The source described Justin Bieber's decision to add Smith to the board of his clothing line as weird, as his background is in ministry, not in business, and we all have a collective hell yeah. Over the years, Justin and Judah Smith have been seen together, including the Super Bowl. Another source who's allegedly familiar with both of them told the outlet that their relationship has become a narcissistic pastor egging on a narcissistic artist, both fueled by Jesus running around trying to do business. This wouldn't be the first time that Justin was connected to a controversial pastor. He was once close with Carl Lentz, who co-founded Hillsong in 2010. Lentz has been credited with transforming his religious group into a massive celebrity-loved megachurch.
So I just used NerdWallet's card finder tool to find a better card for me. And listeners, this is genius. All you have to do is answer a few questions, and in minutes, you'll get matched with recommendations tailored to you. I'm discovering cards I didn't even know existed, and the matching was on point. The best part? No research needed. The nerds already did that for us. So if you, like me, want to easily find the right card for you, go to nerdwallet.com to get matched today. Terms and conditions apply. Credit products subject to lender approval. See nerdwallet.com for details.
Ladies, is everyone trying to fix their health concerns with unproven gummies and tricks? Well, thank goodness, Low Libido has a real clinically proven treatment. Low libido can be so frustrating, but there is a treatment called Addyi, ADDYI. Addyi is the first and only FDA-approved pill proven to boost sexual desire in certain premenopausal women. Isn't that great? A clinically proven option for your low libido that comes from a doctor, not a gas station. Learn more at Addyi.com and take charge of your sexual health with a treatment that's backed by science. Remember, that's Addyi, ADDYI.com.
Addyi, or flibanserin, is for premenopausal women with acquired generalized hypoactive sexual desire disorder, HSDD, who have not had problems with low sexual desire in the past, who have low sexual desire no matter the type of sexual activity, the situation, or the sexual partner. The low sexual desire is troubling to them and is not due to a medical or mental health problem, problems in the relationship, or medicine or other drug use. Addyi is not for use in men or to enhance sexual performance. Your risk of severe low blood pressure and fainting is increased if you drink 1 to 2 standard alcoholic drinks close in time to your Addyi dose. Wait at least 2 hours after drinking before taking Addyi at bedtime. Your risk of severe low blood pressure and fainting is also increased if you take certain prescriptions, over-the-counter or herbal medications, or have liver problems. Low blood pressure and fainting can happen when you take Addyi, even if you don't drink alcohol or take other medicines. Do not take if you are allergic to any of the ingredients in Addyi. Allergic reactions may include hives, itching, or trouble breathing. Sleepiness, sometimes serious, can occur. Common side effects include dizziness, nausea, tiredness, difficulty falling asleep or staying asleep, and dry mouth. See full PI and medication guide, including boxed warning, at Addyi.com/PI or call 844-PINK-PILL. Addyi.
That's Addyi, ADDYI.com.
Now, you guys know, I swear there is a documentary connected to almost any story. We are all at a point now, especially if you've been listening to this podcast from the beginning, that almost every topic has some sort of documentary that we've watched and we can discuss. So in this case, it made me think of the Hulu documentary, The Secrets of Hillsong, which detailed how Carl Lentz became a star in his own right, along the way gaining hundreds of thousands of followers on social media, and how he was mingling with some of Hollywood's most elite. Justin Bieber once referred to him as his second father. After his tumultuous affair was brought to light in 2020, Justin distanced himself from Carl amid the fallout. So he left Hillsong, so did so many of his famous friends. You can watch that documentary. It's called Hillsong, a Mega Church Exposed on Max. I covered that Hillsong fallout in episodes 463 and 674. Now, Daily Mail reported in 2023 that by 2019, Churchome was described as one of the most influential Christian congregations in Hollywood, and it expanded to 5 different locations across Washington and California. It was getting more than 10,000 attendees each week alone and raking in millions of dollars in profit. Well, Judah and Justin hit it off immediately, and they've been brothers ever since. And it turns out it was actually Judah who put the singer in contact with Carl Lentz. So former Hillsong leader Carl wrote in his 2017 memoir, Own the Moment, I met Justin through Judah. And it all comes full circle. So I think this story is interesting because it highlights the rise of the celebrity pastor. Once you have this massive social media following, best-selling books, megachurch platforms, you're getting invitation to spaces traditionally occupied by movie stars and athletes. Pastors can wield significant influence in the modern era. They become more about branding than spirituality and can be difficult to live a life of humility and accountability. And we saw this in the Hillsong documentaries. I think it also highlights how celebrities often encircle themselves with people who don't provide them with criticism, accountability, or the truth. And I just read that article and I thought, and it all comes back to Hillsong. So that is definitely a documentary. If you have not watched, I want you to go ahead and watch. Now, the other thing that made me think of docs is that on my Patreon this week, I talked about the legacy of Pope Francis. So you can go over and listen to that. I thought it was interesting how his funeral rituals will be simplified compared to previous popes. He's going to have a more modest ceremony and burial outside of the Vatican. And key elements include lying in state period at St. Peter's Basilica, a simpler coffin. Traditionally, they do 3 different coffins, and a funeral mass at St. Peter's Square. Again, I know I always think there's a connection to a documentary, but I'm telling you, there really is at this point. It makes me think of the story of Emanuela Orlandi. And I just brought this up at least twice this week to people. It's a story that still tugs at me, and it's making me think about it all the more because of all the coverage of, obviously, of the Pope. So Emanuela was a 15-year-old Vatican City resident. She'd vanished on June 22nd, 1983, while returning home from a music lesson in Rome. Her disappearance has remained one of Italy's most enduring mysteries, drawing widespread attention and speculation. She was the daughter of a lay employee in the papal household, so that's why she lived within Vatican City, and she attended a school affiliated with the Pontifical Institute of Sacred Music. After leaving her music lesson, she was last seen at a bus stop near Palazzo Madama in Rome. Now, despite initial concerns, the police suggested that she was waiting and was officially declared missing the following morning. So she had called home and said that she had spoken to somebody about selling Avon makeup products and was excited about it, but she never came home. And she was seen talking to somebody in the square, and they had a green car. Well, a man identifying himself as Mario claimed to have seen a girl resembling Emanuela selling Avon products. Later, an anonymous caller with an American accent dubbed the American contacted the family suggesting a kidnapping. Then Pope John Paul II made a public appeal for her release, but no substantial evidence emerged linking her disappearance to international terrorism or other groups. But the Pope had referred to it in a way that made people think, do they know more than they're saying in the Vatican? So over the years, there have been several theories that have emerged regarding her fate. There's the Banda della Magliana involvement. Sabrina Minardi was a former associate of the criminal group Banda della Magliana, and alleged that Emanuela was kidnapped on orders from Archbishop Paul Marcinkus, the head of the Vatican Bank. And she claimed to have held Emanuela captive before delivering her to a man dressed as a priest. However, her credibility has been questioned due to inconsistencies in her testimony and, of course, her history of drug abuse. Then there are rumors about a Vatican sex scandal. Some investigators believe that Emanuela's disappearance was linked to a sexual scandal involving high-ranking Vatican officials. The Cardinal Silvio Odi reported hearing a conversation between 2 Vatican employees who claimed to have seen Emanuela returning to the Vatican in a luxury car the evening of her disappearance. Most compelling to me is the VatiLeaks and the London Trail. In 2017, journalist Emiliano Fittipaldi discovered documents indicating that the Vatican spent over 250,000 euros supporting Emanuela from 1983 to 1997, including expenses for her education and medical care. The documents suggested that she lived in London under Vatican protection for several years before her death. Both the Vatican and Italian authorities regard these documents as false. You can watch Vatican Girl, The Disappearance of Emanuela Orlandi on Netflix. For a more detailed review of the case, you can listen to my interview with Chiara Messineo. She's producer of Vatican Girl in episode 696. I still think about it all the time. I really have to wonder what happened. I also have this kind of connection to it. She was one of 5 kids, a family with 4 girls and 1 boy, just like my family. Her brother Pietro had a chance meeting with Pope Francis, who just passed, in Vatican City outside of a church. And he asked him, what happened to my sister? And the Pope looked at him and said, she's in heaven. Now, in 2023, Pietro suggested that high-ranking Vatican clerics might have been involved in her disappearance. Pope Francis also defended Pope John Paul II against these allegations, stating that they were offensive and unfounded inferences. Despite the Vatican's efforts, the mystery of Emanuela and her disappearance remain unsolved. So again, go back and listen to my episode 696 with Kiara. I go way more into all of the moving parts of that story. And also, I believe in my bonus episodes, I asked Jonathan what happened to her as well. So those are some stories to be obsessed with today. And I hope that you check back tomorrow. I've got a new true crime doc. I interviewed the director and the executive producer. You guys are going to totally love this one. And then I've got a great upcoming Saturday series episode as well. So make sure that you are subscribed to this podcast. Please leave a 5-star review. Join the Facebook group Reality Life with Kate Casey. You're going to meet a ton of really cool people there. Also, my what to watch list is at katecasey.substack.com. And follow me on social media. I'm on Instagram at KatecaseyCA, TikTok, it's Kate Casey, Twitter, Threads, and Blue Sky at Kate Casey.
Life can be chaotic. If you're running a retail business, don't let disorganized order fulfillment add to the chaos. Use ShipStation instead. With ShipStation, you never have to worry about shipping and fulfillment again. Whether you're running a business out of your garage or you have multiple warehouses, ShipStation is ideal for every phase of your business's growth. Save time with one login for all your stores and by automating repetitive tasks. Plus, you'll save money with the best shipping rates from global carriers. ShipStation's industry-leading features help you deliver a better customer experience. They'll get accurate and faster shipments along with automated tracking updates with your branding. And with up to 88% off UPS and USPS rates and up to 90% off FedEx rates, ShipStation is the fastest and most affordable way to ship. Calm the chaos. Switch to ShipStation today. Start a free trial at shipstation.com/audio. That's shipstation.com/audio.